This is the December 16th meeting of the Committee on City Services of the City Council. I am City Councilor Stan Moulton, and I will be presiding today. This meeting is being audio and video recorded. Laura, would you take the roll, please?
Sure. Councillor Moulton,
Here,
Councillor Labarge,
Here.
Councillor Dobbs,
Here.
and Councillor Rothenberg.
Here.
thank you. Let's see, is there anyone here who wishes to make public comment? I do not see anyone other than the five of us. Therefore, we will proceed to the minutes of our last meeting on December 2nd. Those minutes were distributed earlier today. Did everyone have a chance to review them?
I read them.
Okay. Any additions or changes or deletions? Any comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the December 2nd minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of December 2nd, 2024.
I'll second that.
Okay, minutes approval was moved by Councilor Labarge, seconded by Councilor Dobbs. Laura, roll call, please.
Councillor Moulton,
Yes.
Councillor Labarge,
Yes.
Councillor Dobbs,
Yes.
and Councillor Rothenberg.
Yes.
Okay, the December 2nd minutes were unanimously approved. Now we will move on to items that have been referred to us. First up, are two new appointments that were referred on November 7th. Amelia Shaw to the Arts Council. And I believe Councilor Labarge, you talked with Amelia.
Yes. I talked with her 3 times. She's just really, really amazing woman. I asked her what brought Amelia to Northampton. She stated her wife and her were ready to leave New York City and find a place to feel part of a community. We were both working in the arts at that time, but we wanted more than just professional connections. We wanted a place where people generally cared about each other. In the winter of 2019, we visited Smith College because I wanted to finish my bachelor's degree. My wife, who grew up in Eastern Massachusetts, was familiar with the area and suggested the visit. We completely fell in love with Northampton. The rich art scene and the charm of a small city sealed the deal for us. We decided right then that this would be our new home. I asked her what she thought about the Arts Council, or what she knew about the Arts Council. I know the Arts Council puts on great community events like First Night and provides grants to artists twice a year. Their work helps support creativity and strengthens the arts community in Northampton. I asked her what interests her in applying for the appointments to the Arts Council. She stated, as someone who identifies as an artist and feels so connected to Northampton, applying felt like a natural step to her. I wanted to give back to a community that has welcomed me and be part of something that aligns with my passion for the arts. Joining the Arts Council feels like a great way to make a meaningful impact. And I asked her, I said, Amelia, is there a particular issue that you are interested in working on? She stated, I love to work on helping Northampton reclaim its reputation as an artistic hub in Massachusetts. Over the years I've lived here, I have seen how much a thriving art scene contributes to the health and the vibrancy of the city of Northampton. I want to help make Northampton a place people are excited to visit and where residents feel at home, however I can. I asked her about her background. She stated she studied acting at the Atlantic Acting School in New York City and the Moscow Art Theater in Russia. I also worked as a union stage manager for nonprofit theaters on Long Island and in New York City, which has given me hands-on experience in both the creative and administrative sides of theater production. I asked her, what work of life experience do you have that is relevant to this role? She stated she grew up in a small town on the eastern end of Long Island with just under 2,800 people. Even though it was small, the town had a great art scene with independent cinema, a live theater space, and several galleries. That showed me early on how the arts can enrich a community and boost local tourism. In my current job at Amherst College, I coordinate logistics for summer funding opportunities and review stipend applications. Between my professional experience in the arts, nonprofit administration, and growing up in the artist-friendly town, I feel well equipped to contribute to the Northampton Arts Council. I have to say, 3 times that both of us have spoken with each other, I could tell from Amelia's heart that she was so interested in becoming a member of the Arts Council. So I would like to make a motion with a positive recommendation for Amelia Shaw to be appointed on the Arts Council to full city council.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Labarge for a positive recommendation on Amelia Shaw to the Arts Council, seconded by Councilor Dubs. Are there any questions for Councilor Labarge about Amelia Shaw? No, thank you, Councilor Labarge, for that very thorough report. And Laura, roll call, please, on a positive recommendation.
Counselor Labarge,
Yes.
Counselor Dobbs,
Yes.
Counselor Rothenberg,
Yes.
and Counselor Moulton.
Yes. Okay, a positive recommendation is unanimous for Amelia Shaw to the Arts Council. That will go to the City Council on Thursday, this Thursday, December 19th. Next up is Kathleen Chapman, candidate for appointment to the Human Rights Commission. Councilor Dubs, you interviewed Kathleen.
Thank you. Yes, it was my pleasure to interview Kathleen Chapman to be on the Human Rights Commission. I was happy to learn that she had applied to the commission. I had met with Kathleen Chapman a few months back when I first became counselor. When I went to the community room at McDonald House where she lives, and I met residents that live there. And I remember at the time she had expressed interest in getting more involved in the city, and so it was very exciting to hear that she is applying to be on this commission. Um, she expressed interest. She had also mentioned that she regularly attends NHA meetings, but she wanted to do more than just do that, than just go to those meetings. Let's see. When Kathleen and I spoke over the phone for this interview, she explained that she traveled to Northampton from Mississippi 5 years ago out of necessity. After her house burned down and sadly her husband passed away, and after searching for the best choices for public housing and a safe city to live in, she chose to move to Northampton. She said that she's glad that she did. She's worked in civil rights her whole life. This work began when she became dumbstruck, in her words, at the inequities of treatment and racism in our country. In Kathleen's own words, I want to take baby steps, along with others, to make change. It's a steep uphill journey, long and grueling. A close friend of hers made her aware of the Human Rights Commission, in Northampton, and so Kathleen took the initiative to watch one of the Human Rights Commission meetings, and she was struck by the people who spoke about reparations, in particular by one woman who she described as very eloquent. In terms of an issue that she would be interested in working on, Kathleen mentioned that reparations is a good place to start because something needs to be done, in her words. She would also like to incorporate her knowledge and experiences in working with Grow Food Northampton and the Hampshire County Food Policy Council to advocate on the Human Rights Commission for getting more food to people in our city who have lower limited income. Kathleen stated that she has a desire to figure out how to make life less difficult for people. According to her, the Human Rights Commission makes sense for her because quote in her words, "It's what I know. I want to listen and learn, to educate and be of assistance, to see how I can fit in to help do something meaningful." Kathleen described herself as a "if you need me, I am here" type of person. She believes strongly that certain things are just wrong, that go against everyone's shared values. And she moved here from the Deep South to live in a more progressive place. And yet she acknowledged that Northampton still has work to do to become more progressive. She noted that the coolest thing, or one of the coolest things about Northampton, is that we have something like the Human Rights Commission where she can fit right in and in her words, get started on her work. So, for those reasons, I would make a motion for a positive recommendation of Kathleen Chapman to the Northampton Human Rights Commission.
Second that.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Dubs, and seconded by Councilor Labarge for a positive recommendation on Kathleen Chapman's appointment to the, Human Rights Commission. Are there any questions about, Kathleen Chapman?
It sounds very interesting.
Yes, she's very, very nice. Very sweet.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you to Councilor Dubs for, that very compelling report on her background and her interests. Hearing no other questions, Laura, roll call please on a positive recommendation for Kathleen Chapman.
Counselor Dobbs,
Yes.
Counselor Rothenberg,
Yes.
Counselor Moulton,
Yes.
and Counselor Labarge.
Yes,
Okay, that is a unanimous positive recommendation for Kathleen Chapman's appointment to the Human Rights Commission that will also go to the City Council this Thursday, December 19th. Okay, now we move on to the other set of new appointments. The first of which is Mary Penny, filling a vacancy on the Board of Assessors. Essentially, this is a 6-month appointment, which will be through next June. I interviewed Mary. Before I report on her, I just want to say a few words about the Board of Assessors for anyone who may be listening or watching. The Board of Assessors is a 3-person advisory board to the principal assessor, who of course is responsible for determining the fair market value of real and personal property each year. And the Board of Assessors sometimes is called on by the principal assessor for their opinions about the value of a particular piece of property. But more often, its role is in hearing appeals filed by property owners about the value of their property if they feel it needs to be adjusted. So the board meets, and that typically that's very active in the early part of the year annually to hear those appeals and to decide on those appeals. So Mary Penny grew up in Northampton. Other than leaving the city for her education, she's lived here her entire life. She is now a principal with her brother, Pat Melnick Jr. I'm sorry, before I start to report on Mary, I know Councilor Labarge wants to say publicly something about the relationship that she has with Mary Penny.
Yeah, I talked with Alan Seawald in regards to either interviewing Mary, if not voting on her. Mary Perry is my grandniece. I have no business dealings with her at all. And he said, just acknowledge it, but I do have rights if I wanted to interview her and also if I want to vote on her. So I'm just acknowledging what she is through me, through marriage, which is only, okay, a grandniece.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Labarge. I think it's good to acknowledge that relationship. So continuing on, Mary and her brother Pat Melnick Jr. are now principals in the law firm that was established by their father, Pat Melnick Sr. So they have a law office on King Street. Mary has been a lawyer since 2011, and she specializes in real estate transactions. She represents both buyers and sellers of primarily residential property, but she's also done some work for commercial conveyances as well, and also has experience working with nonprofits that are looking to buy land for preservation in assisting them in appraising the value of that land. Her work, while primarily representing clients in Hampshire County, has taken her throughout Western Massachusetts. So she is very familiar with the process of establishing fair market values in the region, and has the context for understanding the impact of various factors in terms of fluctuations of the real estate market. She has not before served in any appointed or elected position in Northampton, but she's now interested with her children becoming a little older. She feels she has the time and she has a definite interest in giving back to the community. She came back here, as I say, to work in the family law practice, and she believes strongly in community service, volunteer work as being part of her commitment to Northampton. In seeking a position that was sort of matches with her experience, her background, and her skills, she thought about the Board of Assessors. She sought out David Murphy, who is the chair of the Board of Assessors, talked with him about the vacancy that currently exists, and he encouraged her actually to apply. So that's how she got to this position. I also talked with David Murphy about Mary. He's very enthusiastic about her candidacy and confirmed that he did, in fact, encourage her to apply for this position. And David explained to me that this 3-member board, which currently has himself and Denny Nolan as the 2 remaining members. David, of course, is a realtor, and he also is a licensed appraiser. Denny Nolan is a realtor. But the 3rd position on the board, traditionally, according to David, has been a lawyer with experience in real estate, and it's been held in recent years by people like Margot Welch and most recently by Sean Sullivan, who has moved out of Northampton, which created the vacancy. So David has endorsed Mary Penny's candidacy for this position. He looks forward to her coming on and giving the board its full complement. So for all of those reasons, I would move a positive recommendation for Mary Penny's appointment to the Board of Assessors.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion about Mary Penny? Councilor Rothenberg.
Thank you. I know that tonight I will be voting for a positive recommendation. I just want to say that at the outset. But I am curious, about the makeup of the professional backgrounds of the board members. I would love to understand more about that and wonder if there's any way to learn about any cities that may have adopted a more diverse background in terms of including some sort of lay people or just sort of more community representatives rather than all professional sort of representatives in that sense. Does anybody know about that? Has that piqued anyone's interest before? You know, understanding that realtors and lawyers are sort of making up this niche thing. I mean, but I'm thinking of the homeowners who come in who may want assessments to be revalued, and I'm just wondering what might be the benefit of having more peers there as well as part of that conversation.
This is a board that, of course, serves a very important function, but it has a very narrow set of duties. And again, I will restate what I said at the beginning. The Board of Assessors is responsible for assisting the principal assessor with determining the full and fair market valuation of real and personal property each year for the purpose of levying taxes. In my view, the people who are most qualified to do that are those with knowledge about how you make a fair valuation of property. So it would seem to me that that work in real estate in some fashion is an essential qualification for serving on the Board of Assessors. Council Labarge.
Yes, I can see what Quarterly is talking about, but I have to agree, these are licensed realtors who specialize of appraisals and so forth like that. I don't have a problem with the way it's done. The only problem I would like to know, and which maybe we could find out, you have a chair and there's how many on that board? Is there 4, Stan, or
No.
3?
3.
3, okay. I would like to know how long they can stay on that. Do they do a rotating basis with other realtors possibly who would like to be on it? Because I'm concerned about that. If it's the same chair or vice chair or whatever, do other people or other realtors have the opportunity also to put their name in? That's all I'm asking.
Are
So I
you
think
s-
that's
are you,
something I will check that out with.
oh, okay, so you're talking about actual membership on the board, not serving as chair. Is that correct?
Right,
Okay.
and plus as chair, right? Say I'm a chair or you're a chair and you've been on that board for maybe 10 or 11, 15 years. Is there a time involvement so that it rotates? There's a different chair after maybe 2 terms being on it or whatever. I don't know. I've
Uh,
never been involved in that part of it, so, and I think it's something that I have some interest in that because we do have, you know, female attorneys out there that do deal with real estate. That's my question. Is there ever the same people stay on it all the time or what here?
well, I can't answer the question about the chair because that's a
The
matter.
chair or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know the answer about how the Board of Assessors rotates its leadership position. In terms of membership, I know that for this particular position, in recent years, there have been 3 real estate attorneys who have held that position. So
Yeah.
it's Margot Welch, Sean Sullivan, and now Mary Penny, who's up for appointment. So,
And even before that, there was other realtors on that before.
mhm. So that position
just
has
curious about it.
turned over.
Yeah. Just curious, but I'm wondering, can also residents attend those meetings that they have?
Uh,
I've never heard of it being open for the public.
well, certainly any resident who has an appeal before the board, is, it has the option of attending, sure.
Right, because I don't see any minutes on that either.
I,
Just curious about how they operate it. I'll
mhm,
check that out.
okay. All right, Counselor Rothenberg?
Yes, I was just curious for Counselor Labarge, if you noticed that about any other committees and chairs about the turnover, maybe being improved by being faster, or if that's something you just notice about or wonder about as it pertains to the Board of Assessors.
You're asking me that?
Yeah,
Explain that again?
when you talk about wanting or being curious about, is there enough turnover? Would it benefit from more turnover? That's how I understood your question.
No,
Be-
my question is, how long somebody stays as chair, or how long do they ever stay on that commission?
Well, were you wondering about if term limits would be a good idea?
I think so.
So my question for you is if you feel that way, or if you've had that thought about
And
any
I
other
don't know if
committees.
there's a state law on this. I don't know.
I just wonder, you've been here a long time on city council, so you've seen a lot of our boards and you've probably seen which ones of them didn't have a lot of change maybe. And I was just wondering if you thought there are any other commissions or any other boards where we might also be curious about if term limits would be good.
I'd have to think about that.
Okay,
My main concern is really the assessors, the Board of Assessors, and not seeing any minutes or something on it. And here we have a Board of Assessors that do have minutes, do have meetings, and there's no minutes, but maybe because they're bringing up residents' names and it's all private. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I can't answer to this.
thanks, Counselor Labarge. I guess my last thing in closing, in response to your comments, is just, I'm glad to hear that we're curious about this board. I think that assessed values are so important to our constituents. These taxes and being able to live here is a major concern of the residents of Ward 3. And I'm curious. I'm very curious about those things like term limits, like variety of perspective. I just think as times get tougher for the people who live here, and especially a lot of the people who grew up here and have been here for generations, we really need to be very thoughtful about how we're assessing these homes and making sure people can stay here. Not just that it's great for the market, but that it's great for the community, because we care about everybody here. So I really appreciate Mary Penny and everybody else serving with their expertise. And I look forward to all of us learning more about what we can do to refine this board and its purpose for our city.
Well, I can say with certainty, there are no term limits.
There isn't.
Right. Okay, are there any further comments about Mary Penny's appointment to the Board of Assessors?
Nope.
Okay, roll call, please.
Counselor Rothenberg,
Yes.
Counselor Moulton,
Yes.
Counselor Labarge,
Yes.
and Counselor Dobbs.
Yes.
Okay, that positive recommendation for Mary Penny is unanimous. That will also go to the City Council on Thursday, December 19th. Okay, then finally, we have Benjamin Wood, a candidate for appointment to the Housing Partnership, also filling a vacancy. This would be essentially a 1.5-year appointment through June of 2026. And Counselor Rothenberg, you interviewed Benjamin Wood?
I did. And I hate to say this because I've enjoyed all of my interviews, but this might have been my favorite interview. And everybody was so nice always. You know, I first started with Michael from the Historic Commission, and recently, you know, Hannah Ray and Deb and Bruce. They've just all been wonderful interviews. But something about this fella, Benjamin Wood, really, really spoke to my heart. And I felt like he was really speaking from his heart. He is a public health consultant, and he spent many years working for the state in public health. And you may have noticed that he also worked for us in public health. He was our director of public health, a little bit under Claire and a little bit under David. And he was just here briefly doing that. But I think even in that brief time in the city, working for the city, he really did develop a very keen sense of the challenges of city government. And I found him to be very down to earth, very non-confrontational, but really, really dedicated to having systems like a city government really serve the people who live there and make their lives better. And he sees housing as one of those main things that you really need in order to have a healthy life. And he said all of us have things in our lives that are sort of part of the system of keeping us healthy and happy, you know, the people that we love, the places where we live. And he's really interested in keeping those kinds of systems strong for as many people as we can, so that even if you don't have a lot of money, if you wanted to be part of this community or you want to stay in this community as long as you can, we want to make sure that we're supporting you to be as healthy and stable in your ability to live here as we can. So I like that a lot. And I like that he's working as a consultant. He's very professional, very polished. And I think that that's a really nice pairing for some of the people who are on this committee already. I think that, you know, he's going to be a great voice and a great advocate to help this group. And so I hope he stays. I hope he enjoys his first term. I'm sure that we'll all appoint him, because I just can't think of a single thing we could be able to hold against this man. And I just want to say in closing, he's also done some very good work for housing in his own capacity as an individual. He's making a small alternative dwelling unit on his property, which he's going to use for his adult son, who needs to be able to have support, some sort of a disability that's keeping this son needing to be close to the family, even as a grown-up. And so he's taking advantage of this housing change where he can build a little place right there next to his own home. And he and his wife are going to take advantage of that and put that to its highest and best use. So that's the other thing I like about him, is that, you know, he understands that housing policies can have huge positive, beneficial changes if they're used the right way, right? He also understands that they can just be used in ways that sort of drive up the market and price people out. So that's something just to be cautious and vigilant about. And I feel like he is going to be cautious and vigilant, and that we're all really going to benefit from his compassion and his intelligence. And I did finally ask him the most important question to me almost every time is, who sent you here? Why did you apply? And I want to make sure that people are serving because they want to serve, right? Because they really have that passion in their heart. And he certainly did. He said that his good friend, Hannah Ray, who we just appointed to a historic commission, I believe it is, she said, she was talking to him and she said, you know, Benjamin, a lot of these people on the boards are older and they're retiring. And I really think we should be doing our part. You know, we have a little more time now. Our kids are a little bit older. We should do something. And he said, you know what? I agree. I can do that. You know, I was a little burnt out after my first stint working for a city so many years ago, but I think I'm ready now to come back, everything I learned in the world, and give back to my city. So I present to you Benjamin Wood with a positive recommendation from Ward 3.
And I'll second that.
Okay, positive recommendation is moved by Councilor Rothenberg and seconded by Councilor Labarge. Any questions about Benjamin Wood? All right, thank you, Councilor Rothenberg, for that very heartfelt endorsement and report. Roll call, Laura, please, on the appointment of Benjamin Wood to the Housing Partnership, positive recommendation.
Counselor Moulton,
Yes.
Counselor Labarge,
Yes,
Counselor Dobbs,
Yes.
and Counselor Rothenberg.
Yes.
Okay, that also receives a unanimous positive recommendation, and Benjamin Wood's appointment to the Housing Partnership will go to the City Council on Thursday, December 19th. So Laura, you will make certain that all of these get on the final agenda before it's posted tomorrow.
I will.
Thank you. All right, that brings us up to date with all of the reappointments, appointments that have been referred to city services. And I want to thank all members for their diligent attention to the interviews for new appointees to boards and commissions, sometimes under rather tight deadlines. I appreciate all the time and the very informative reports that we've gotten from all of you. Thank you. So on to new business, and one item of new business is to discuss our next meeting time. We are scheduled, as the year turns to 2025, we're scheduled for our next meeting on January 6th, which is, of course, the first Monday.
Yeah.
And because of a meeting of it's legislative matters, correct, Laura, that will be taking up the
Yes,
fossil fuel free ordinance.
correct.
And that is that's going to be held at 6 o'clock. And I think although none of us are members of legislative matters, I think it's an issue that we're probably all interested in, and I want to make sure all of us have the opportunity to get there. So I am proposing that we move up our meeting time to 4:30 from the usual 5 o'clock on January 6th. Is that convenient for everybody?
I don't
Yes.
have a problem with it.
No
Councilor
problem.
Dub? Okay, everybody is good for 4:30 on January 6th, and that meeting will be held only if we have any referrals either this Thursday, the 19th, or we'll actually have another council meeting before January 6th, the first meeting of next year, which is January 2nd.
Can I ask a question? Laura,
Yes.
you have the posting up already for a city council agenda, correct?
For this Thursday?
Yes,
The preliminary, yeah, I haven't posted the final.
right. Have you heard anything about any new appointments coming in?
No, not yet.
Okay,
Well, I think Counselor Labarge really deserves January 6th off. So let's cross our fingers. She's probably got important elf duty somewhere.
Ah,
Well,
not
okay.
me.
We'll
And that also
we'll,
too, Jeremy, if the weather's bad, no matter what, okay? I think, Laura, this is not mandatory for counselors to have to be there. They can do it by Zooming also.
On the
yes,
6th? Oh, yeah.
Yes,
yes.
right.
Yes, our meeting would be virtual, and I believe the legislative matters will be hybrid, right, Laura?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So any counselor could attend virtually legislative matters.
exactly.
Okay, so if we meet on January 6th, it will be at 4:30.
Great.
Are there any other items of new business?
I had a question.
Yes.
I was curious about Chris Palamas. He was somebody that I interviewed. I think 2 meetings ago I reported on him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He had applied to the housing partnership, and I haven't noticed him going to the full council yet. Did something happen with that? Or maybe
Oh,
you don't have a
I thought he
Hey.
did.
Hang on, Jeremy. I'll look at my list.
okay. Because I don't remember seeing his name on the agendas, but I could be wrong.
Oh, I hope you're
Uh,
wrong. I should have put it back on the agenda.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chris
dear, dear.
Palamas was referred referred to the full council on November 7th and approved unanimously.
Exactly.
Oh, thank goodness.
I believe it was part of the consent agenda.
Yes.
Okay. For some reason, when I looked, I didn't see his name, like on our past couple meetings.
I'm looking now and I see it,
You do.
24154, yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
um,
I'll check it
on
out then.
November 7th, yeah.
I remember.
Sorry about
that.
that.
Yeah.
I'll-
That's all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody, other than these four that we sent along tonight, everybody else has been approved by the council.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, any other items of new business? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by Councilor Labarge, seconded by Councilor Dubs. Roll call, please, Laura.
Counselor Labarge,
Yes.
Counselor Dubs,
Yes.
Counselor Rothenberg,
I miss you already. Yes.
and Counselor Moulton.
Yes. All right, thanks, everybody, and we'll see y'all on Thursday.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. See you
Good
then.
meeting,
everybody.
everyone. I mean, evening.
Good night.
Stay warm.
Yeah, you too.
I know. It's supposed to be in the 50s tomorrow, Laura.
I know, I'm excited.
I know. Unbelievable. No, I'm just very curious about the assessors. If people.
Yeah, I know there's not any term limits. There's some term limits like for the Council on Aging and for the Cultural Council. There's certain boards that there are state
That's what
term
I
limits,
thought.
but not for any of the others that I'm aware of.
Me either.
So,
But
yeah,
I
like
knew about-
conservation, well, look at Mason Marin on the Conservation Commission. He's been on since the
Oh my
90s.
God, I
and-
just saw him. What was that?
Yeah.
Last month. And he said, I'm still on it, counselor.
Yeah,
I
no,
said,
so,
oh my God. And he looked older. I haven't seen him in a long time.
well, it's about
He
about
lives on
time.
my
He's-
ward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
funny.
Unbelievable.
All right, have a good night. I'm gonna go visit Randy.
Oh, I don't
Take
blame you.
care.
Drive safely.